Hey Bob, this is John and Anthony here. We're just going to go over from my request, we're going to go over our stretches. So if you have your stretch sheet handy, we'll get started on that. John will be demonstrating for us. So we're going to start the supine hamstring stretch down on the floor here. So we're going to lay back, one leg's down, target leg he's going to pull up. You can start off with some dynamic stretches here where he's just, it's just tugging back till you get a pretty intense stretch. Hold it for a brief pause and then come out of it, let the hamstring relax, and you can do about 10 reps of those on and off, and then after that probably could just do a little more of a static stretch where he's just holding right there. Okay, that's the supine hamstring. Next we have the standing thoracolumbar. When you're at the gym, you use this stool over here. You can use anything that's handy, dining room chair or whatever you got available. So he's got his foot propped up, his knee blocked against the wall, and then he's reaching back with the same side arm to anchor himself on the opposite side of the door and twist. So you come back to lined up with your shoulders. So you see his shoulders and hips are squared up. He's trying to separate his shoulders from his hips. Go ahead and twist into it there. Hips stay square and his shoulders rotate. So that's what we're trying to do there. Okay, very good. Next we've got our glute prone stretch, so it'll be on all fours here, and he's going to straighten one leg, cross the other leg underneath, and work on sinking his hips down and back, getting the knee to the floor. If you can work your forearms to the floor, that's fine. If not, that's alright. And then it's important, he's doing a good job here keeping his hips square, but let's show him hips like unsquared. If you shift to the right, yep, we don't want that. We want to keep the hips down and flat there, all squared up. Okay, very good. Next, we've got the hip flexor or psoas stretch. There's probably a line on your sheet that says up to a bridge and another note. Just ignore that. We're just going to stick with just the bridge stretch. So John will be half kneeling position here. Make sure you get something to pad up your knee really good, a pillow or whatever's handy. But half kneeling, and then he's going to shift forward, put his hands on the floor. And he's going to try to work on pushing his hip right there towards the ground. I don't know if you can see that. So we'll come back out of it for a second. Right, I'm just halfway up, and then go ahead and back down to the floor. But see how much his hip pushes towards the floor there. Very important there. Okay, to get the stretch in the front of the hip. You can also work on firing that right glute while you do that stretch to get more out of it, or the side that you're stretching, that side glute. Okay, very good. Then we're going to do the hip flexor rec fem stretch, so he'll remain half kneeling. This is a good one to do when you got something to grab onto. He's grabbing onto the bench right there. So again, there's kind of two parts to this stretch. The first part is just learning how to shift your hips forward. He's going to show you that, just sliding the hips forward, not so much arching the back there, but just push the hips forward there. Yeah, like literally shift forward. Yeah, there we go, like that. So, and that's the first part of the stretch, and then we'll add in where we pull the foot up. So he's going to grab behind to his leg there, get anchored in the shoe, and then again he's going to try to shift forward, making sure he keeps the glute tight, and then pull up to get a good stretch in the quad there. Okay, very good. Make sure this one you don't hyperextend your low back, overextend. Make sure you keep the glutes really tight there. Okay, next we've got our adductor stretch, or the frog stretch. So there's two different versions you can do here. We'll show you both. The first, if you want to just show him that, he's going to kneel down. Make sure again here you get something to pad your knees up, but he's going to walk his knees out as far as he can. You go down to your forearms there, and once you kind of feel like you can't go any further, then work on sitting the hips back. So come forward for a second, just show them where you start, and then once you get as far as you can with the knees, then you shift the hips back till you feel a good stretch all through the groin adductor area. Very good. Okay, that's the first, probably the easiest version to do. We'll show you the other frog version too, where we're doing the squat here. You do whatever's easiest for you. So he's got his hands on the ground here. He's pushing his knees out actively with his elbows there, you see, and he's almost trying to shift forward onto, you can see he's on his toes right there. So kind of shift forward while pushing the knees out. That's another version to do. Either one works fine, whatever gets you the best stretch and easiest for you to do at home. Okay, very good. Next we have the calf stretch, the soleus stretch. So we'll show you up against the baseboard how to do this. So he'll prop his foot up there really good, get it way up there, you want it wedged almost, excuse me, and then you're going to try to, he's going to bend his knee and try to push his knee towards the wall. So very good. This is another one you can do dynamically. You can see he's trying to do kind of some on and off reps there, and then after 10 reps or so, you can go ahead and just hold statically like that, almost like you're trying to touch the knee right to the wall there. Very good. All right. Next we have our side-lying rotator cuff number 1. So he's going to lay on the floor here, right down on his shoulder. You see his arm is at 90 degrees here. If you just leave it up for a second there, the shoulder's at 90 degrees, and then also his arm this direction is 90 degrees, and then he's going to push down, rotate down to the ground with his opposite hand. Very important that you don't let the shoulder area come up here. He's keeping it nice and tight down, showing what would happen if you let the shoulder come up like that. Yep, if it flies up, then not doing the stretch correctly. You got to keep it pinned down like so. Very good. That's the side-lying rotator cuff. And next we'll go over the posture drill. So John will show us the posture drill. We'll start from the side, and we'll show him a kind of 3-part process. Yep. So he's gonna push his chest out. It's very important that you keep your abs braced here too. So he's just gonna chest out. He's gonna retract the shoulder blades here. Shoulder blades are really pinched together. Show him no retraction. So you want to go from here to good retraction like that, and then he's going to rotate his palms back as far as he can. I'll show you from the side one more time here. Go back to kind of crappy posture. Okay, so chest out, retracts the shoulder blades, and rotate back. Very good. So try and want to hold that for time. I think the sheet says 30 seconds a few times a day, so you can work on that. All right, and then we're going to go over our thoracic posture drills with the foam roller. So if you got your foam roller, I don't know what we did with ours. I think we got it
behind you.
Oops. Hiding here. Okay, so we're going to go over the crucifix. John will be face up here. It's very important where we place the foam roller. We want to make sure that it's never on the low back. Should be just upper back. So about mid rib cage there. And hips are on the floor, and it's very important his knees are bent up to take pressure off the low back. So once you're in that position, then you can place the arms out to your side. Very good. You should feel a good stretch through the chest, and then you can work your way overhead as far as you can, keeping your hands on the floor. If there's any pain, then obviously don't go that far, or just bring them back down to horizontal. But ideally this should be done for like 10 minutes. Hopefully by the end of the 10 minutes you can reach a little further overhead than you did initially. Okay, then for the second thoracic drill, you're just going to keep the foam roller in the same place. You're just going to rotate it so it's perpendicular to your spine. Good. And then he's going to support his head here and keeping the hips on the ground, feet up, bent up again, same position almost. He's going to let his shoulders fall back to the floor. Notice his neck isn't dropping back, it's his actual upper back and spine is rounding right over that foam roller. Then he's going to crunch up very slowly just to neutral spine, which is great right there, and then he's going to go back down. Nice and slow with these, should never be done fast. Good. So he'd do 3 to 4, maybe even 5 little crunches there, and then what he'd do is he'd sit up and move that foam roller maybe an inch or 2 up or down, like literally almost a vertebra up, and then he'd repeat the same process. So he'd pick 3, 4, 5 different spots on the upper back and do 5 of these crunches at each position there. Okay, very good. Now we'll do the all fours thoracic rotations. So we're just going to flip over to hands and knees there. You're going to place one hand behind his neck there, just kind of locked back there. Let's show him on this side for me. Good, all right. And to start off, he's going to rotate his elbow up to the ceiling, and he's going to try to look up as far as he can too. So notice how much rotation he gets in the spine. Good, and then he's going to come down. He's going to round and tuck and bring his elbow down through this opposite side of between his leg and arm. Good. So you notice he rounds his back when he comes down, and then he tries to extend his spine when he comes up here. So chest out, and then when he comes down, round the back and tuck in. Good. I'll show a few on the other side really quick. You do about 10 to 15 of these on each side. Again, these are never done quickly, nice and controlled. Very good. Okay. That's it for that one. Next, we're going to go over our foam rolling. We're going to quickly go through, we'll start with the adductors and the adductors, IT bands, and then quads and hams. We'll just roll through them quick. So I'll show you the adductor. He's going to place this foam roller right along the inside of the leg there. And he's going to try to work all the way up into the crease of his hip. Very good. And then all the way back down to the knee, working back and forth nice and slow. Very good. Okay, then we'll show the IT band. You obviously do that for both legs. We'll just kind of fly through these a little quicker. He's got to place his hip right on the outside of his hip, right on the top of the foam roller. And he's going to bend, let's bend that top leg up. And there you go. So you can place some support on that foot. And then again, he's going to roll from the top of the hip all the way down to the knee. Nice smooth movements. You can do about a minute on each side, or as long as you like, at least a minute, and or you could do 10 rolls up and down is usually equivalent to that. Okay, very good. Again, both sides you can do that. So we'll show them the quads. You can we'll do one leg at a time. Here is the best. So this off leg, his left leg, is supporting him, and then the right leg, again, is just kind of army crawling his way up into the hip there, and then down to the knee. Very good. Good. Hamstrings now. Okay. So he's going to cross the leg he's not working on is going to be crossed up over top of the bottom leg to try and get a little more pressure on that right leg. If that's too much for you, you can do both legs at once, but typically that's just not enough pressure. So crossing the leg over does the trick pretty well. Again, from the knee all the way up into the hip there. Very good. Okay, and next, let's see. So we're going to work on our piriformis with the foam roller here. You can also use the tennis ball or lacrosse ball, but this would work fine. Foam roller initially. So we'll work on the left side. So he's going to cross his left leg, and then he's going to rotate to his left about like 45 degrees. So doesn't have his hips squared up, but he's actually rotated to the left and crossed that leg. That's very important. And then he's working on the glute area there, just like 3 to 4 inches up and down there. Very small area we're trying to target. Again, if this isn't enough pressure, you can use a small lacrosse ball or tennis ball. Should do the trick. But again, let's go back to the flat pelvis there, and then you can cross the leg again. But I just want to show them again the rotation of the hips outward there, like that. That's very important there. Okay, good. Next, let's see, we're going to work on the traps and rotator cuff with our lacrosse ball. So we'll find a blank space right here would be fine. So he's going to place this ball right on he's going to do kind of like a side profile, so that he's got the ball between his shoulder and the wall. And it's a very kind of small area to start with, but actually I'll show you from the back, it'd be better, sorry. So he's working all the way up to this scapula here. That's basically the border of the scapula all the way to the shoulder is your rotator cuff. So he's working both directions. You can start going just from left to right, basically rolling back and forth there, but then you can also do up and down to get the fibers a different direction. If you find a hot spot, just kind of apply some pressure and hang out for a minute before you start moving a little more there. So while he's here, I'll show you the rotator cuffs start kind of here and over, and the traps are more middle of the back between your spine and shoulder blade here on each side of the spine. So he's just going to basically turn right around and roll over to this trap area, and you place that ball on either side of the spine and then work his way up and down. Traps are very long muscles, so you can go all the way up close to the neck and then down like half of the back, basically looking for knots. Again, you can go left and right or up and down, and if you find some spots, apply pressure and just kind of search around a bit there, but work on all that tissue back there. Okay, very good. And let's see what we're going to do next. And we're going to show you how to roll the lats really quick. So this is usually best done with the foam roller. So it's going to lay right down, and the lat kind of runs along your rib cage. I'll show you from this side here. He's going to place the arm he's working on out ahead of him there, and he's just basically right on the lat muscle there, working his way up and down all the way up close to the arm there. This is another one you got to kind of walk your feet underneath you as you work your way up and down. Again, this is another one where you really want to stop any foam rolling, stop and apply some pressure when you find some knots. And he's very good there. Okay. Next, we'll show you the corner pec stretches. So again, find a corner of the room where there's nothing in the way. I could go ahead and start with our first position, the 90 degrees up there. He did that already. He split his feet. That's important so that you don't end up overarching your low back. So he's got 90-degree arm angle there, and he's going to basically lunge forward very slowly, and it's very important. He's going to be pinching his shoulder blades together the whole time. You see him kind of pinch there. Very important that you pinch while you shift forward. If you have any pain in this position, you can adjust your hands either up or down. Sometimes either works, but up a little bit or down below 90 degrees. But you can experiment a little bit there. Okay, second position is basically the posture drill. We went over, elbows are tucked away in, even more than that. There we go. And again, he's got this 90-degree angle, pretty close to it there. Once his hands are flat on the wall, he's going to, again, shift forward while pinching the shoulder blades. Nice and easy with this one. Very good. Okay, pretty straightforward. The third one, I'll show you from this angle. He's going to step back for a second and show us the angle he's going to hold his arms at. Again, 90 degrees, almost like a pretty close push-up position. Okay, so he's going to move forward into the wall and keeping those arms nice and tight. He's going to shift forward again, pinching the shoulder blades together. This one is a little funky. You might not feel a ton in the chest. You might have to play around with the hand position, but you probably will feel a lot of your upper back pinching together with this one. Okay, so I'll show you for a little bit more from the side one more time. Go ahead and there forward for me. Good retraction. Excellent. Okay, let's see. I think we've just about got everything. We're going to go over planks really quick, so we'll come back over here. Just kind of go over our plank form. That will about wrap us up for our stretches and drills. So John will show us how to plank. So you can start, you can either do forearms on the ground or hands, whichever you preferred, either way. But he's going to start, well, remember it's kind of a two-part process. He's going to engage his abs by sucking his belly button tight to his spine. You can't quite see that, but you want to envision sucking your belly button to your spine. Then he's going to tuck the hips. Yep, so very subtle there. Show him a couple more times. Just, there we go, just tucking the hips like that. Core really tight, and then he's going to just lift his knees off the ground just an inch. and then right back down. We're just going to do reps, Bob. We're not going to hold for time, so just every time tuck, hold, come on up, and then back down. Then you can work towards holding that plank the whole time. You'd still come up and down, but you wouldn't let go like he's kind of doing. So you'd hold that and then just lift up, keep holding, then you come down, keep holding the plank, and just kind of go on and off lifting the legs. And then we could progress to holding for time. But just work on doing those reps for now, and that should be sufficient to work on practicing your plank. Alright, well, that'll wrap us up for today. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to talk to Jason or ask any of us, and we'll see you when we see you. Thanks.